So it's just after 8 in the morning and something very exciting has happened. Look what has arrived. Live bees. So this is a project that I'm very excited about. These are buckfast bees sent by Royal Mail, which is crazy. They have this grill and you can kind of just hear them moving around in there. We have a very excited beau, don't we? What is it? So we are at the farm now and we are in the wildflower meadow field, which is looking really, really nice, full of all these beautiful flowers already. Buttercups, ragwort, all the oxeye daisies. And this is going to be the site of our new apiary. So we have our hive. We've borrowed this from a friend. I really know very little about bees, so do not use this in any manner as a beekeeping guide. But we have a brood box, we've got a couple of supers, and then we've got the top. We only need the brood box at this point, so we will take everything away. These are our bees. I don't know why, but I'm still astonished that they came in Royal Mail, which is our general, in the UK, is just our general postage system rather than a courier. But I mean, they're perfectly fine. One thing that I've been surprised by is the amount of heat. The heat coming out of this hive is quite incredible through these vents. So these are buckfast bees. They come from Buckfast Abbey down south, and they are well renowned for being super placid, docile bees. The instructions say that on day one we are not to put them into the hive. So we put them on the site of the hive, and then there's a little entrance box here, and we basically just cut this open and the bees will come out because they're going to be super disorientated. They're going to come out, fly around, work out where they are, and then they'll start going out collecting pollen and nectar and bringing it back. And then it's tomorrow that we will then open this up, and this has 5 frames in it. So we'll open this up and we'll transfer these 5 frames into our brood box. So all we're going to do today is just open this entrance and watch the bees. However, they're super disorientated. I'm a bit of a nervous beekeeper because I don't know what I'm doing and also don't want to get stung. So I am going to don the Buzzy Bee suit before we do this. Right, we're ready. Sard is also here, but we haven't got a second bee suit yet, so he's keeping his distance. Honestly, they should be fine. We're not actually taking any frames out of the box. We're literally not disturbing them at all, other than opening a small flap. But I don't want to get stung, and it might be comical seeing me run screaming from the field, but we're going to hope that that doesn't happen. So all we're going to do is we're going to pop the bees up here. It did say to put this on the top. This is the hive thing, so it said to put this on the top just to keep some of the sun off. And then we've got a stick to prop the entrance up, and then we're just going to cut open this entrance. This big guy at the bottom of the screen, I think, is a drone. So that's a male. And then the other ones are all of our little worker bees. Welcome, guys. They are pretty chilled out, which is quite nice. And there's already a few bees flying around and just finding out where they are, where the new home is. And here's the hive again, and then all they have to do is just go here. So we shall return tomorrow to do the scary bit, which is to transfer them. We have a friend coming, and she's bringing a spare suit for Sard. So let's let them settle in.
Just use the edge of the tool just to lift it, unstick it. That's it. Cool. Nice.
Now to space it out or just leave it like this?
Probably fine. So if I come and have a wee look.
So you saw there the day after with Sard and our friend Claire, who knows far more about bees than we do, transferring the 5 frames into the bee box. We currently only have 1 bee suit, hence I stood back and watched while Sard transferred them. And now we are a couple of days later, and here they are. You can see down there have been quite a few bee deaths, which I suppose is not uncommon for them to be boxed up. I was a bit concerned about the number of bee deaths there were, but as you can see here, they are happily collecting from the meadow. And bringing it back to the hive. Now, one of the reasons I spent the money to buy these particular bees is they are so docile. I would never, of course, take out the frames from the brooder box or do anything like that without a bee suit on, but just to be able to be this close to these bees is pretty amazing without having to be too concerned. We also, on the first few days, did, if I can get this off, it's stuck, put in some feed. So this is our feeder box, and in here there is just some sugar solution. It is warm in there. I'm not going to keep this off for too long. But you can see those bees are pretty chilled out. The bees that historically were kept here, without actually us being informed, were awful. We couldn't even enter the field without the bees coming out of the hive and us getting chased and stung. These guys, as you can see from how close I got there without needing to have a bee suit on, are pretty darn chilled out. In terms of why we're keeping the bees, it's not for any kind of grand honey commercial plan. If we get a few pots of honey that I can put in our larder for the year, maybe a few extras to sell, then great. But we're not trying to be big honey producers. I don't know if you know it, but a lot of the cheap honey in the supermarkets is cheap because essentially the bees go and forage, all the honey is taken away, which means we as humans then have to supplement their feed by giving them sugar syrup constantly. So a lot of the cheap honey you buy actually is just reconstituted sugar water. We don't want to do that. We're not going to be taking large stores of their honey away for us and then needing to feed them back sugar water. The plan is let them make as much honey as they want, let them keep the majority of that honey, and we'll just take a little bit off now and then for ourselves and for a few pots to sell on. There's quite a lot going on here at the moment, so some of these videos are sort of little spits of snapshots into loads of stuff. And one thing I'm really excited about is there is a pair of swallows right there in the middle of the screen. There's two white blobs. They're thinking about nesting in this barn. And we haven't had any swallows nesting in this barn at all since we've been here. I suddenly remembered the other day, actually, we had a female kestrel that used to roost in here, and sadly, not last winter, but the winter before, the snow got her. So I'm now wondering whether now she is no longer in residence, the swallows have decided that they are going to make this place their home. There they are. So they're flying in and out a lot. They seem to be going up to here. There's also a little collared dove nest up there. That's had a couple of chicks out of it already this year. But I'm mostly excited about these two. It'd be wonderful if we could start getting a colony of swallows nesting here again. It's a really beautiful farm day today. Not baking hot, but the sun is out. There's some blue, cloudy skies. And the goats, in particular, are loving it. Look at them. They come across here and they hang out by the chickens because the chickens sort of dust bathe and make these little dusty earth patches that the goats then love to come and hang out in. We're missing a goat though. I'm just wondering where Angus is. Where is Angus? Is he round the corner? Maybe he's round the corner. Are you alright there? Where is Angus? Oh, there he is. Hi Angus. Are you chilling out? You purring? I don't know if you can hear it. But there is a greater whitethroat sat here. And it is singing such a beautiful song. One thing at the moment that I'm continuously having to hold myself accountable for is prioritizing the right things. So for example, I've just stepped over into the market garden because I'm finally transplanting some more kale plants, and I've put in over here some of my dahlias and this, I think it's Carthamus Nemo. I can never remember what this is, but it has bright, big, sort of round, fluffy orange flowers. But so I've stepped over and I thought, oh, this patch needs to be trimmed, it needs to be neatened. No, it doesn't. That is far from the priority list. What needs to be done is I need to sow stuff, because the sooner I get that sowing in, the sooner it can germinate. If I put it off, then obviously, and I do this first, that's taking away from that germination time. I also get super sidetracked with adding to my to-do list. So again, with my kale that I've just planted, did I water them straight away? No, because I got sidetracked by putting those in. So, you know, this is the thing, I must stick to one thing at a time. So I see, oh, there's some trailing sweet peas, they need to be stood up. Oh, these are looking a bit weedy, I need to weed them. Oh, those gladioli are starting to get shoots on them, which means I need to sow the next batch. So I flit, and it's not good, and I need to concentrate on one thing at a time. Well, I have made some progress. I have prioritized. So I have watered all of the kale. I've watered all of the chard. I've actually burnt a few new holes in this next bed and got the first of our courgettes in. And yes, this year these are courgettes. I haven't mixed them up with the cucumbers. Over here I have watered the dahlias, the things that I can't remember what they are. I've weeded out the third succession of cornflowers, the second of which, and the first of which actually, was that the second? No, this is the second. This is the first, and they are starting to flower. So look, we've got pink tips, we've got purple tips, and I saw a blue earlier, and a blue. I've put in the next succession of gladioli, so I've put in 24 more gladioli here, and I've been waiting till they start to get to this stage, and then I put in the next lot. These are my snapdragons. I've had a weed, a water, and everything is looking pretty good. Of course, I have a vast amount of catching up to do. This past week was a bit of a write-off. It was my birthday, we went to the Suffolk show, and then this past weekend we had like a 3-day party where loads of friends and family came up and camped, and I did nothing. It did, however, highlight some issues with the farm, and that is we micromanage so much at the moment that when we step away, all hell breaks loose. The pigs escaped, the goats escaped, the sheep got out, things dried up because they weren't watered, and so we're having to kind of try now and step back, look at the farm as a whole, and think about how we can streamline more things so that actually, yes, we can take a few hours away without the farm basically falling apart. Another lesson that I'm learning to bear in mind and trying to drill into my psyche is that things are never going to be perfect here. I walk around, and as I was saying, I see things that need to be mown or trimmed. Not, of course, in the beautiful wild patches like this, because that's part of our very wilding plans. It can get as wild as it wants. But in other places, around the market garden, in the driveway, places like that. But actually, we have 37 acres. And I'm one person. Obviously, Sard is around, but Sard is a busy man. Sard runs his falconry centre. He has a part-time job. He also has a thriving taxidermy business, which takes up a lot of his time. So I can't rely on him to come and help me, and nor should I expect it, because it's not fair. So I need to learn that actually prioritise the growing and the sowing and the transplanting and the watering, and if things get a little messy along the way, so be it. We're never going to have a no weed garden that's perfect. It's never going to happen. So I mean, I would love one, and that's why I get a bit stressed, but I need to learn to just enjoy with what we've got and do my best and not put too much pressure on myself. I was also gifted something quite beautiful. I was quite embarrassed, actually, by the number of people that brought me gifts, but fantastic gifts as well. Plants, roses, things for our Dunster House cabin, but one thing in particular is really quite glorious, and I can't wait to put it out. I've just got to find a place, and it's here. It's this stunning birch. It's not a birch at all. It's a copper beech. It's this stunning copper beech. I'm going to use it as a specimen tree. I don't want to plonk it in a hedge or anything like that, because I just think it's so pretty. Look at those flowers. I can't speak. Look at those leaves against that blue sky. I think it's going to be quite the stunner. But as I say, I want to use it as a specimen tree, And that is, when you have a specimen tree, it just means you normally plant it on its own, so it showcases its beauty. You don't sort of throw it into a hedge or a copse or anything like that. So I am going to go and find some place that I can put this beautiful tree to grow over the next decade and become a huge, huge beauty. Don't miss out on the chance to explore the secret little nooks on our farm in this video about our rewilding plans.